Hey, you. Yeah, you. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. Hero. I could be your hero, baby. Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not much of a singer, and I don't know much about Enrique Iglesias. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that's not how you say his name, but could have been worse. Could have sang Nickelback. They say that a hero to save. Sorry. That's not why I'm here. Does anybody else think that the lead singer of Nickelback looks like the rapist from Showgirls? No? Okay. How the fuck did he get Avril Lavigne? Anyways, I'm getting off topic here. What I'd like to talk about in this podcast is heroes. What makes a hero? I mean, a lot of people would say that depends on the profession you do. A lot of people like superheroes, such as Green Lantern or Fantastic Four, or many others who can't make a good movie, or just people in general. Like if you live your life and do what's right by your family, isn't that considered a hero? I'd like to think so. But if you go on Wikipedia here, they got the whole definition for you. A hero, masculine, or heroine, feminine, is a real person or a main character of a literary work who, in the face of danger, combats adversity through feats of integrity, bravery, or strength. The original hero type of classical epics did such things for the sake of glory and honor. On the other hand, are medieval and modern heroes who perform great deeds for the common good instead of the classical goal of pride and fame. Is it just me, or does this explain the complete opposite of what Donald Trump is? But seriously, guys, anybody out there could be a hero. It's just a matter of stepping up to the plate and just wanting it, But at the same time, it's like it just said, you don't have to do it for glory. You do it because you feel it's right. You want to go out there and do what's right. In your heart, you know that you have to make a sacrifice for the greater good. Or not even for the greater good, just for one other person. Or it could be many people. It's something that's very important in life. Eventually, we're all going to have to step up and be the hero. It's just a matter of, do we want to do it or not? Now, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I've received some very bad news today that the great Stan Lee, who has created so many awesome superhero characters, has died today at the age of 95. I'd just like to say rest in peace and thank you very much for all the lovely years of entertainment when it comes to comic books and cartoon shows and movies. I mean, all the characters he created, he always, put himself in the movie, a little quick cameo here and there, his little signature move, kind of like a Alfred Hitchcock would in his movies. And yeah, I mean, he was a really cool guy. I thought for sure he was going to live to be well over 100. So it's kind of ironic, though, that today is a holiday for Remembrance Day. Again, rest in peace to all the soldiers that we lost 100 years ago in World War One. And it's kind of ironic that we lose him on this day. So rest in peace to him. And that is a really cool thing he did. Just creating all these superheroes, you know. And if you think about it, you know, all these like fictional superheroes, like what is the point of a fictional superhero? You know, a lot of people always think, okay, like it's not a real hero, like this person doesn't exist. And yet we're obsessed with these characters, you know, like every couple months or so, you know, there's a new movie coming out, whether if it's Marvel or DC, you know, and we're always just so fascinated by these characters. I think a lot of people hope that a lot of these characters will actually exist one day. I mean, all of a sudden they'll just come to life, and if there's a Batman, you know, for all of us, or you know, there's a Superman that's going to leap over tall buildings, and one day we're going to see him fly in the sky, or we're going to see a guy with metal come out of his hands, and he's just going to save us, you know, or Wonder Woman is going to pop up. I really hope that does happen, but you know, it's not. Realistically, unless some kind of miracle happens, you know, I think we got a better chance of meeting E.T. than meeting Batman. But, you know, you never know. But it's cool just to look up to someone who, uh, you know, either Stan Lee created, or just, you know, whoever created a superhero in their life, you know, just to see how that person would see the rest of the world. So picture yourself one day, you're just a normal person, and then the next day you wake up with all these superpowers. All of a sudden you can fly. All of a sudden you can, you know, jump over tall buildings and freeze things with your breath and shoot fire. Or, you know, you got a metal skeleton, and for some reason web shit is flying out of your hand. You know, I mean, what do you do with this power? I mean, obviously it's like cool, you know, but then all of a sudden, like, you keep thinking to yourself, like, am I meant for a bigger purpose? You know, Stan Lee created Spider-Man, and you know, in the first movie, you know, his father tells, you know, his son, who's Peter Parker, obviously Spider-Man, and he tells him, you know, great power comes great responsibility. You know, and it's not even just the actual fact that you have superpowers. It's the fact that, you know, a lot now rests on your shoulders. I mean, what do you do with that power? And it goes for life in general. So, you know, a lot of these comic books always imitate life. And if you're given a certain amount of power, then what do you do with it? I mean, do you use it for good? Do you use it for bad? You know, I mean, do you let your past, you know, tell how you're going to use these powers? You know, you're going to get revenge on people? Are you going to actually go out there and, you know, do something good? You know, it's quite the conundrum. But at the same time, you're conflicted about who you are now, and what do you do with these powers? Now, top 25 superheroes of all time. This is according to Ranker, which is a pretty cool website. So, number one, they obviously got Batman. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, Batman is my favorite superhero of all time. I've always considered him the James Bond of the superhero world because, well, he doesn't have any superpowers, but he's got these cool gadgets, and, you know, he's always fighting his demons, and, you know, the thing that he fears the most is the thing he became. So maybe on some level that's a hero. I mean, to be able to see a challenge and not even ignore it, but run towards it. That's pretty cool. Number two, they got Spider-Man. Now, good old Peter Parker, co-created by Stan Lee. Not much you can say about this guy. No, I'm just kidding. You can say a lot about this guy, of course. I mean, he gets bit by a radioactive spider, and then all of a sudden he wakes up all muscular, and he's shooting shit out of his wrists, and, you know, I don't know, it sounds like the beginning of a bad porno, but I mean, it's an actual superhero. And then this guy goes flying, and he starts fighting guys who, harness electricity and guys who dress up like rhinos, and it's actually a pretty cool concept. But what's cool about Spider-Man, I mean, this is, from what I've gathered, let me just start off by saying I don't read comic books. I'm not much of a reader anyway. For those of you that can tell by the way I speak, I don't read well. But what I've gathered about Spider-Man is that, he's a young dude. I mean, they basically start him off in like high school, like when he got all these powers. So I mean, Batman's like more grown when he sort of becomes Batman, but Spider-Man, I mean, he's still a kid. So, and that's why I really like Spider-Man 2, the one with Tobey Maguire. Not that shitty one that came out, with Electro and listen, I got nothing against Jamie Foxx. It's a good paycheck. I get it, dude. No worries. But that was just horrible. But anyways, but part 2, the one with Tobey Maguire, was excellent. And there's that scene where his mask rips off, and everyone's just going up to him, and saying, "Oh my God, he's just a kid. Oh my God, like my kid is just that young." And so, like right there, I mean, it's just a great concept. Like you realize, like being that young and having these powers and having that responsibility is just insane. I mean, being like an actor or a musician today and just having that much, fame and people all over you is crazy. But imagine all of a sudden now people realize, wow, you're responsible for this whole city. And if anything, even more. And you're just a kid. So I always thought that was a great concept. And to be a hero at that age, you really have to grow up fast. And a lot of people can grow up fast, and that's another concept of being a hero, is that like how fast are you willing to mature? A lot of people know that they got the hero in them, but, they don't want to face it yet. And guys like Spider-Man, he had no choice. He had to face it. Number 3 is Wolverine. Again, one of my favorite characters. I always liked in the very first movie, he did solo. Hugh Jackman played him, of course, did an excellent job. Though a lot of people always forget that the concept of Wolverine, that he's like a short guy. I think he's only like 5'2", 5'3" or something. Hugh Jackman's like, I don't know, 6'1", 2, 3, whatever. So the concept of Wolverine, was always cool because, he's like this little guy, that just has like a lot of like, animal instincts in him, and he's just very energetic, and he's got like a cool attitude. He smokes cigars, and in the first one, I thought it was funny, the one guy goes up to him and says, "Your country needs you." And he just looks at him and he goes, actually, you know what? He didn't even look at him. Like that's how much of a badass Wolverine is. He just like, doesn't even have to look at people when he's saying cool lines. He just like looks away and he goes, "I'm Canadian." So, but again, with the concept of Wolverine is that, from what I'm told, again, I didn't read the comics. I think he was like an ex-soldier or something like that, and. He was killed in the war, and then they gave him this liquid metal or something injected in him, and that's what gave him the claws and this, basically bulletproof skeleton. And, like he didn't really choose to be a hero. I mean, he was just, almost like a human-sized lab rat, and, like he doesn't know really where he comes from. His memory's a little hazy from the past, but he's lost, and he goes to, the X-Men school there, and, learns more about himself from Professor X, and, he realizes that, his powers are, pretty powerful, and they're meant to be for good, A lot of and that's another thing too. Like a lot of people will always take advantage of your heroism. Like they know that you're the type of person that will go out there, and risk your life for someone else, and they're gonna try to take advantage of that. And with Wolverine, I think a lot of people from the other side like tried to take advantage of him, and they wanted him to almost be like a, like a Terminator type, But he refused to do it. He wanted to just do things on his own. I mean, he was part of the X-Men, but in many ways, he was just a lone wolf. He just wanted to do his own thing, and just figure his shit out. But he didn't want to hurt anybody. He just wanted to find out where he came from, and you know, just like a lot of us out there. I mean, we want to find out, what our past is, and how does it reflect our future. If we're gonna be like a hero in the future, I mean, we got to find out, like, were we a good person in the past? I mean, and if we were, we want to keep that up, and we don't want anything else, to come in our way of that. Number 4 is it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Now, for those of you that have been living under a rock the past whatever the fuck, you got to know who Superman is. It's just, come on, just, get your shit together, find out who Superman is. People don't even follow the story of Superman know the story of Superman. Like, I could be just basically say it on top of my head. Like, I didn't read the comics, I just saw the movies and the shows. Okay, he came from a planet called Krypton, and his father was Marlon Brando.
Yeah, my son, these humans are interesting creatures, and you must be patient with them.
If by the way, for 3 weeks work, he got 14 million for that. So I would paint my hair white any day for that. But anyways,
I got paid, a ridiculous amount of money for just such a silly movie.
anyways, I could do Brando all day, but that's not why we're here. So after that, his planet blows up, including his parents, and then he gets shoot over to Earth. Ends up in a town called Smallville. Because it's small, I guess. And he meets his, new parents, and he eventually learns his powers, and he learns more about his past, and he becomes Superman. And again with Superman, like, I'm gonna go back to what Quentin Tarantino said in Kill Bill Volume 2. Now, Dean Carradine, he said, I mean, his character said that Superman was born Superman. Now, I believe that's half right and half false. Now, he was born Superman. That's true. I mean, he was born, on this planet with everybody having these superpowers. But did he know about these superpowers? Like, did he know what his purpose was? I mean, he was just another guy from Krypton, and I mean, did he know, like, eventually he would be the protector of planet Earth? I mean, did he know that was his purpose? I don't think so. I mean, like, I think he slowly had to learn that. He had to learn his powers as well on the farm, and had to deal with bald assholes like Lex Luthor, and a little green rock called Kryptonite, Which, by the way, I mean, like, every episode of Smallville you watched, I mean, it was just Kryptonite this, Kryptonite that. Like, they just couldn't think of anything else, really. I mean, 10 seasons. Each episode was like an hour. It was like, what, 24 episodes in each season? I mean, like, we couldn't shorten this shit a little bit? No? Okay. But anyways, the point is, Superman did not know he was going to be a hero. He had to grow up and become a hero. And he had to learn what was right and wrong. And same thing with a lot of heroes. I mean, a lot of us, like, have that drive, to become a hero, but do we know for sure that's what we want? And we really don't know until, like, something happens in our lives, until, like, we can actually, like I said before, step up to the plate and actually, provide protection. And even then, like, we're not sure. I mean, we're going to make mistakes along the way, and we have to learn our true selves. And there's always, like, that duality with Superman. There's Superman, and then there's Clark Kent. There's a guy that just wants a normal life. You know, he doesn't want to really be a hero, but really he's got no choice. I mean, he's in many ways, Quentin Tarantino was right. He was born Superman because he was just born with that in him. You know, and sometimes it like we don't have a choice. It just chooses us. And when it chooses us, we should take full responsibility for it. Even if it's rotating the earth and going back in time, which I think that might be the coolest power that Superman has, you know, that he can actually do that, you know. But again, it's like Spider-Man, you know, great power, great responsibility, you know. Every action has a reaction. So, you know, a lot falls, you know, on his shoulders, and it's just something that he was born with, and he has no choice but to face it every single day. Number 5 is The Flash. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know a lot about The Flash. I know he can run really fast. They had kind of a cheesy show of it in the 90s. The dude who played him in the recent movie Justice League, I've seen him in 2 movies, that and Trainwreck, where he was the kid that Amy Schumer almost had sex with. But other than that, I think he did a great job in that movie, by the way. But I thought Justice League was a good movie. I don't know. A lot of people are pissed off. You know, they're like something to do about the Superman digitally removing his mustache. I mean, guys, like, do we really give a shit? Like, I mean, really, like about a mustache? Really, really, really? Who cares? You know, I mean, I don't know. Iron Man had a mustache and he kicked ass. So enough said. So the Flash, you know, his superpower is he's pretty much the fastest superhero. And that's a good concept too. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, like when you're a superhero or just like a hero in general, I mean, it's how fast you react to things in life. And especially when you're a hero, I mean, you know, seconds could really matter in a crisis. And it's almost like a cool metaphor. I mean, if you're not fast enough or if you don't react fast enough in a hero setting, you know, or if, you know, life puts you to the test and if you don't act fast enough, then, you know, you can miss out. So maybe that's always been the concept of the Flash, is that, you know, life moves pretty fast. If you don't look around and stop and look once in a while, you could miss it. Sorry, I know that was cheesy as fuck. I'm sorry. But in all honesty, like life does move pretty fast and, you know, you gotta take it all in. And a lot of times, yeah, when you're a hero, you gotta react really fast. And yeah, I always thought that was a pretty cool concept. Number 6 is Iron Man. I am Iron Man. Okay. I gotta stop doing the song references. I don't want to get sued. But another cool superhero co-created by Stan Lee. What can you say about Iron Man? I mean, I'll be honest with you. Before the movie, I honestly couldn't say much. I mean, I didn't know much about Iron Man. I just knew, you know, it was this dude who dressed up in an iron suit and kicked ass, you know. Once again, it's kind of like Batman. I mean, this guy's got no superpowers. He had to rely on, you know, everything he's got upstairs. And, you know, it was a really cool concept, you know. Like it's basically like having like a half man, half robot, you know. And you got Robert Downey Jr. playing him, you know, which basically, let's just be honest, saved his career completely. You know, thank you, props to Jon Favreau for sticking to his guns and picking him as the superhero. You know, he did awesome movies like Swingers, Made. A lot of people don't even know, you know, he did Elf as well. So, you know, I think financially he's doing fine. Yeah, you know, like he was just awesome in it, you know. And a lot of heroes too. I mean, they don't even come across as heroes, you know. I mean, if you take Iron Man without the suit, I mean, even Like Captain America said that, you know, okay, like what do you got if you take away the suit? You got brains, you got intelligence, you got wealth, you got good looks, you know, you got like so many other things, you know, and a guy like that comes across as pretty fucking cocky, you know, but again, sometimes a hero has to be a little cocky, you know, a lot of times, you know, you just have to roll with it, you know, and you got to be able to ignore the haters and just keep going, you know, and everything else will fall into place. Number 7 is Captain America. Oh, I don't know where Captain Canada is on this list, but anyways, Captain America. So again, I don't know much about Captain America. I'm assuming he's American. You know, the cool thing about him is that again, like he, you know, was in the war and he, you know, was part of an experiment as well, and you know, everything worked out there. He had, you know, not that many superpowers from what I see from the movie. I mean, again, I didn't read the comic books. I mean, all his powers really, you know, it's just like he's almost fearless. Captain America. I remember in the very first movie, which a lot of people didn't. Well, not the very first movie, not the shitty one that came out in 1990. There, that I don't know, seems like made for TV shit. But the first one that came out the last couple of years ago, and you know, I remember there's a scene where like somebody threw a bomb like at one of the camps there, and he just jumps over it, and the thing doesn't go off, but everyone's just shocked. Like everyone's like, "Holy shit!" Like this guy put his life, literally his body, on top of the bomb, and he did it to save us. Like he's a real hero, and that's, you know, and Captain America to me has always been almost like a Superman type in the sense where, you know, just a very nice guy, very, you know, wholesome guy. You know, hey, how's it going? You know, like, you know, almost like if Wally Cleaver became a superhero. You know, cool shield too, which, you know, which is the coolest frisbee I've ever seen. So yeah, I mean, a lot of times, you know, being a hero, you got to make sacrifices, and you got to be willing to die and take your own life, you know, for the greater good of others. Number 8, the Hulk. Another great character created by Stan Lee. The Hulk, I'm told, okay, see, this one I know actually a little bit of history. Apparently, the whole thing with Hulk was he wanted to create a whole Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing, which is, you know, pretty obvious, but again, a really cool concept. In the comic books, I'm told that he started off as gray, but it has something to do with the printer, and it wouldn't come out right, so they just made it green. And I think it just worked out for the best, because I can't picture a gray Hulk. I mean, I think that would just look weird, you know. You know, and not that a big green guy, you know, doesn't look any more weirder, but you know, at the same time, yeah, it looks pretty cool. You know, they came out with a TV show back in the day with Lou Ferrigno, and they came out with many different versions of the Hulk, movie-wise. You know, they had the first one, was just kind of a serious one. A lot of people didn't like it. I liked it. You know, the way Ang Lee did it, I thought it was really cool. Second one definitely had more action, and you know, ever since then, Hulk has just, you know, showed up in Avenger movies and, you know, helping Thor out, you know, and he's always there to help him out. He's like, Hulk is like that number one henchman, bouncer, bodyguard, you know, that you absolutely want by your side. You know, if you are, you know, a 5'5" movie star, you know, he is, you know, the 7'2" big black guy right beside you. You know, he's gonna beat the shit out of anybody. You know, one of my favorite scenes in Avengers is, I don't know what was his name, Loki. There, he's, you know, talking shit like he always does, and then Hulk just grabs him, you know, fucking wrings him out like a rag doll, and just walks away. Puny God, you know. I thought that was fucking hilarious. So, Yeah, and the whole Jekyll and Hyde concept, I always thought was really cool. Because like a lot of the characters out there, they don't have like, that like sense where it's like, oh, like I sort of want to be a superhero, I sort of don't. I mean, some of them do, but like Hulk, I mean, it's just like he's got so much rage pent up in him, like he doesn't know what to do with it. And in one of the Avenger movies, I forgot, um, he said, a lot of people want to know, like, how do I keep from getting angry? And then there's a pause, and then he says, I'm always angry. And that's what it's like in life as well. I mean, like, a lot of times you're always angry, and a lot of times you do have to hold it in. And when it comes to being a superhero, or just a hero in general, you can't let your anger take away from that. So if you're in a position where you can be a hero, and you're letting your demons and your anger say, you know what, I don't want to help this person because like nobody helped me. You can't think like that. You have to actually go forward, and you have to get beyond that, and get beyond your mindset and say, you know what, it's not about me. It's about helping others. Number 9, Thor. Oh, the mighty hammer. Um, I don't know. Maybe got a home hardware or some shit. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. Again, I don't know much about Thor other than the movies. He's basically a god. Which is pretty awesome. All the power is invested in his hammer. And that's pretty cool. I mean, like it's like like everything. I always thought of Thor as like a Hercules in the sense, when it came to the superhero world. And again, like this is one of Stan Lee's characters, and you know, I always like when Stan, like again, I gotta point this out, like when Stan Lee, like it seems like when he creates a lot of these characters, like there's always a good background there. There's always like a good like psychological reason like why these people are like this, and like the things in the past they have to deal with, and they just have to keep moving forward. And with Thor, again, like he's a bigger guy, and like all the power goes to his hammer, and it's almost like a psychological thing where it's like, like he relies on one thing, to be his power, but at the same time he relies on a lot of other things, like his his brother. But then again, his brother, always Loki always, fucks him over back and forth, back and forth. He doesn't know whether to trust his father or just like the higher gods. Like he feels, he should overcome this, and he should be his own person. Same thing with being a hero. I mean, a lot of times when you move forward as a hero, you're going to have people that are just going to try to hold you back and don't want you to be that person that you really are. And, Thor was able to, go through all that and, put all his power into one thing, and a lot of people always wanted like that one thing. So like the hammer almost represents like the power of being a hero and like just the essence of it, and everybody wants it, but you have to truly earn it. You have to be the one to control it. You have to be the one that puts every single being of your power in this one object or just this one thing. Being able to focus on just one thing and harnessing all your powers into it, and then when you let it go, that's when true greatness will happen. I mean, when you're a hero, you focus on a lot of things. Sometimes you just have to focus on that one thing, and when you put all your effort into that, it comes out great. Number 10, Wonder Woman. Now, this is one of the strongest women of all time. Period. Amazonian strength. She's got the lasso. She's got the things on her wrists that are basically just like a bulletproof vest, you know. Uh, Gal Gadot did an excellent job in Wonder Woman, proving that DC can actually make a good movie. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I don't want everybody mad at me. Okay, it's all good. Blah blah blah. Whatever. The point is, heroes come in all shapes and forms. Now, up to this point, I've named 9 guys. Who's to say that a woman can't be a hero, even be a better hero than all these guys? Or just an equal hero? That was always, like, to me, the concept of Wonder Woman. And that's why, I mean, you know, for, again, a guy that doesn't follow comic books or whatever, I mean, to me, Wonder Woman is the top woman superhero of all time, for sure. I mean, I can't think of anybody else. I mean, I don't know. Lois Lane didn't have powers, did she? No, I don't think. No. I mean, she could write a good story, I guess, but yeah, you know, and that's what makes Wonder Woman such a cool superhero. It's not the fact that she's a woman. It's not the fact that she has superpowers. It's like all these other guys. She's willing to go in there and sacrifice herself for the greater good of planet Earth, or just humans in general. And it doesn't matter like what your race is. It doesn't matter what your sex is. It doesn't matter. In the end, when you're a hero, or when you want to be a hero, you just are. Someone who's willing to step up and just say, you know what? I don't care how people betray me, if they see me as an object or someone who is not as strong. It doesn't matter. You look them in their face and you say, fuck you. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm just as strong as everybody else. Now, I'm not going to lie, there's lots more superheroes that are awesome out there, but I thought I'd focus on a couple other things. A couple things that actually happen in real life. The real heroes of this world. Actually, the word hero comes from the Greek hieros, hero, literally protector or defender, particularly one such as Hercules. I mentioned that before. With divine ancestry or later given divine honors. That's pretty cool. It basically means that even if you're doing a simple job, you're protecting someone or defending your property, you're still technically a hero. Now, a lot of people don't strive to be a hero. A lot of people just live their life and do it every day. For example, a fireman. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. If this was me 20 years ago and if I was in way better shape, I would have loved to have been a fireman. I've always had big admirations for firemen. Basically, there's a reason why they call it a firehouse, is because that's their second home. There's 24-hour shifts. Everyone works it. Doesn't matter if you're there cooking up a steak or playing some checkers with the guys or playing a prank on one of your fellow rookies, which actually did happen to a buddy of mine. He works as a fireman in Vancouver, and he put up a funny clip on Facebook where they put a $20 bill on the ground, and of course, you see a $20 bill, you're gonna pick it up. It's a no-brainer. Okay, it's there. You know, the Canadian money is very shiny. It's hard to resist. So, He bends over and picks it up, and of course, it starts raining hard, aka a big bucket of water pours all over him. Everyone's laughing their ass off. He didn't care. He posted the video himself. I mean, there's a good brotherhood when it comes to being a fireman. And, if you're there and as soon as that bell rings, they could be the last bell you hear. And you go to maybe a little fire, maybe someone accidentally pulled the fire alarm at a school, some little prick. Or it could be, a 5 alarm blaze, could be a whole building on fire. And you might have to risk your own life to go in there and save someone. And you may not come out. And maybe at home you have a family and kids and a wife, and you may never see them again. And it's a very rough job. And I don't care what anybody says, you're a hero every single day you work that job. Same thing with policemen. Now, policemen, I always go back and forth on them simply because there's a lot of good cops out there, there's a lot of bad cops out there. I should do a proper podcast on it one day, probably will. But if you're a good cop out there, you face a lot of shit. I've heard stories where cops go out there and, they'll get, spit in the face from homeless people to dealing with stupid fights at bars, and it sucks. And again, you don't know what asshole out there has got a weapon. You don't know what they're going to do. You have no idea. Jobs like this, they're very high risk. You don't know what's going to happen. And if you do a job where you're putting your ass on the line, and if you have no idea if you're going to come home or not, if that's not the definition of a hero, I don't know what is. And then you have other instances where, let's say you're a pilot for an airline, like the story about Sully there, how he landed the plane in New York in the water there. I mean, that is insane. Like, for those of you who have no idea like how insane that situation was, picture, flying an aircraft, which God only knows how many tons it is. And on top of that, you're landing on water, which is basically like landing on glass. So, picture you driving a boulder and you have to land the thing on glass, which is almost impossible. I mean, how that thing didn't flip over, tip over, is just no short of a miracle. And on top of that, it was winter, which they even made a joke about that at the end of the movie. I mean, they asked the one guy, like, would you do anything different? He said, yeah, I would have done it in the summer, and they all had a good laugh about it, but at the same time, I mean, you really don't know what's gonna happen, and then the whole point of the movie, I mean, like, even when I watched the movie, I thought to myself, like, how are they gonna make a 2-hour movie out of this, and it's all the bullshit he had to deal with afterwards, so not only are you responsible for all these people, and your co-pilot or co-pilots, the staff, that's on the plane, on top of that, even if you do everything that you're supposed to do and save these people, you will still get questioned for it. And again, if that's not a hero, I don't know what is. I don't know why people like gave him shit after and said, "Oh, he's not a hero. He's just doing his job." Well, yeah, his job is, to basically be a hero. So yeah, he is a hero. I don't care what anybody says. And Barack Obama, I mean, that guy was a black president for 2 terms, and he's still alive. If that's not a hero, I don't know what is. Everyone that has ever served in any form of military or army, for those that served, I salute you. And you are all heroes. Today is Remembrance Day in Canada, and it's been 100 years since World War I, so the 100th anniversary. And we should all take at least a couple minutes, just to reflect and think about all the heroes that died for us so we could be here right now. These guys didn't have to go to war, but they did it because it was right for their country. They did it because, you know what, a lot of these guys didn't even have a choice. I mean, they just had to go. Sometimes you're forced to be a hero. You just have to go out there and you do what your country needs you to do. And God bless them for that. I consider my parents heroes. For one, just, putting up with me, being an only child. Can't imagine what that was like, putting up with me all those years. But, working hard, going through all their stuff, dealing with all their demons. And of course, we get into fights and stuff like that. But, in the end, it doesn't matter. I mean, they stayed together. They loved each other. They did what was right for their family. Isn't that considered a hero? Of course. Heroes come in all shapes and sizes, like anything else. There's not just one specific thing or person or event that just all of a sudden makes someone a hero. I mean, in the end, it's just you. It's little things. It's being yourself. It's just going on in life and knowing that you're doing the right thing and knowing that eventually it'll pay off. And in many cases, you're not just doing it for the payoff. You're just doing it because it's you. People always need somebody to look up to, a hero, somebody who, they feel is not so much better than them, but someone that they strive to be. Someone who isn't afraid to put themselves ahead of others. In my eyes, the real definition of a hero is someone that is willing to die for what they believe in. Whether it be for a family member, a career, or just a complete stranger. I remember one time I was at work and I was just walking around and all of a sudden I saw this like empty pond or moat, whatever, just, in the construction of the site there. And I saw this little cat, and it had to be a female cat, but like even for a female cat, it was really thin. I mean, it was really weird because it had like a very fluffy tail, but it was very thin, but the cat was just sitting there, it wasn't doing much, the way it was even, slightly moving, it seemed like it was injured, so I stayed with it for, a little bit, and, people were walking by like, oh, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know. I think there's something wrong with this cat. And I stayed there, for a little while, like I said, and I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to call animal control. Like maybe they can take care of it. And, unfortunately, I had to call many, many different numbers. Because it was a weekend. A lot of, services do not work on weekends. It probably cost them way too much money. And I finally was able to reach some number. They said they would be there, between this time and this time, but I mean, the most time they could show up is, maybe 8 hours or whatever. And who knows, maybe they could, not even show up. So, I said to myself, I feel bad. I'm not going to let this cat just, sit here and, be injured, whatever. I mean, like, it may have fallen, from a balcony. Who knows? So I got this box and I, put the cat in the box. Um, it sounds like a Dr. Seuss rhyme or something. But anyways, I brought it back to the desk, and I even went to like a corner store. I bought it some cat food. I got a little bowl. Got some water. For her, and people were just like really curious. Like, well, like, why do you have a cat at the desk? I'm just like, I'm just taking care of it. I'm just waiting. For animal control to show up, if they do, who knows. And, I just wanted to make sure that, she was okay. And it's funny because a couple came by and they were actually really interested in the cat. And, the cat, again, didn't have no collar. I mean, it might have had a chip inside, to track it. Who knows? But, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I gotta go at the end of my shift. I don't think I could bring the cat home with me. And then the couple said, I'll tell you what, why don't you leave the cat with us? We'll take care of it. I knew them from before. I mean, they seem like very trusting people. And I was like, yeah, sure. That would really help me out a lot. And they were saying, how, they always wanted a cat, and, like, they're even like, worst case scenario, if no one claims her, then, we'll take care of her, forever. So, and yeah, that's what basically ended up happening. I mean, they ended up bringing down one of those little containers there, where you put your animal in. And yeah, they took care of the cat. And I remember I talked to them like a week later. They did their research. They found out that there was no chip or anything, in the cat. And, they ended up adopting the cat, So I'm just saying this story because, I'm not saying I'm a hero. I saved the cat or anything, but, it's just little things like that in life, that to be able to just help someone out, or in this case, some animal, it's nice, you know. And I didn't do it for any reward or anything like that. I mean, I just did it because I just felt it was the right thing to do. In the end, I believe, that's what a hero does. They just do things because it's just the right thing to do, to be able to help someone or something or even some animal in need, because it's the right thing to do. In the end, kindness, being able to put yourself ahead of others, and being brave, not being afraid to be the person that you really are. That's what makes a hero.